The more you open to pleasure, the more you allow it to find you, to unfold all around you, then the more pleasure will rush through you. The more you choose pleasure, the more you actively make choices to immerse yourself in pleasurable experiences, the more you bask in the most pleasurable moments, the more pleasure will rush through you. The more you surrender, give in to celebrating this one wild life, the more you stop fighting it and start flowing with it, with pleasure, then the more pleasure will rush through you. And we don't mean a simple allowing of the feeling of pleasure, though that is part of it, of course. We mean the energy of pleasure will rush through you. You won't be able to help but feel it pulse through all the parts of you. We mean this in a sensual way, of course, should you desire it, but we also mean this in the energy of pleasurable moments finding you to cause a stirring, a ripening, an expansion within the body. The more you allow pleasure, the more it finds you in all the possible moments. When you choose it, you magnetize pleasure energy. It can't help but come to you, arrive at the golden door to your body. And remember, pleasure energy is as love energy, is as abundance energy. All of these energies are slightly different, but also just the same. And to unlock one of these energies is to get the codes, to receive the codes, to unlock all of these energies and so much more. This is what we wish you to know. This is what we wish you to remember, now and always. That is your only job, to remember that choosing you and your pleasure magnetizes that energy and more, all of the energies to you. And you wonder about your tears after you experience pleasure, true, expansive, bodily pleasure within your one true self. These tears present you a moment of contrast between allowing your pleasure and the past tendencies to prevent your pleasure. How dare you listen to anyone outside of yourself when it comes to your pleasure, your allowing, your choosing? We are using strong words here for a moment, but there is a reason. We wish to make a very strong point, and the point is this: how dare you? How dare anyone allow another to prevent or block your personal pleasure? You came here to feel, to experience all the tangible pleasures. You birthed into these bodies to touch and writhe and move and witness and feel pleasure. And yes, of course, you are here to create as well, should you so desire, but that was not the first intent. The first intent was to feel ecstatic pleasure, and yes, of course, to feel grief and sorrow and loss, because it is often after those tough feelings that the desire for ecstatic pleasure reemerges, comes back to the surface, and remembers what these bodies are here for. So the first intent was to feel pleasure in all the ways that pleasure may emerge, but to feel it, to own it, because that is your soul's birthright. Did you hear us correctly? It is your soul's birthright to feel pleasure. And that may mean or include experiencing the opposite of pleasure in order to remember or return to the pursuit of, the allowing of pleasure. So if your soul knows this original intent, and we promise you we do, then to experience tears post-pleasure is a result of a powerful contrast between the mind and its stories and the innate wisdom of the soul. You cry first because the mind believes that feeling this good shouldn't be this easy or this possible. The mind believes it's not allowed because the mind is telling you story after story that pain is pleasure, that it's unsafe to feel this good, so often. And you cry too because there is a flash of remembering that pleasure is yours. It is your birthright. And you have resisted this remembering. How dare you resist that remembering? And in more sweet words, we will say, we understand the false narratives that society and culture and systems have ingrained in your brain and your body. And we are so compassionate to this. We did not plan for this. Humans bred these atrocities out of fear and from forgetting the soul's purpose. And in the general fog of madness and malaise, you have been deprogrammed of your birthright to pleasure. We get this. We understand. We love you through this. We want you to love you through this. Literally love yourself. Be your greatest lover. So you remember your pleasure and cry all the tears and weep until there is no more weeping, though there may always be some weeping. But love yourself until the weeping releases the blocks and remembers the pleasure and allows it to encircle you, fill you up, and pulse throughout your body. When you do this, when you allow this, but also when you do this tough thing, this finding, choosing of your pleasure, the energy of pleasure will flow so persistently that you also bring it, call it forth for yourself and for others. And then systems have to fall in order for pleasure to prevail, and you will be a part of a beautiful new birthing, a birthing of the new, of pleasure and prosperity for all.